Good evening, everyone. I'm Jill Loop. I'm the Economic Development Director for Roanoke County. I have been with the county for 21 years, and I've seen a lot of change in the 21 years since I've been here, and it's been really exciting to not only be a part of it, but to have helped facilitate some of the change that's occurred over the last 2 decades. I'm particularly excited tonight to present our Economic Development Strategic Plan. I did want to point out that this is in draft form at the moment. We're going to take citizen input comments both tonight and by survey. So if you have things you want to say, if you have feedback, input that you would like to share, we will certainly gladly accept it and encourage it and then incorporate it into the final plan as it is appropriate. This has been a year-long process. We started this in January, and it's been a very in-depth and extensive effort on behalf of many people. We did hire Virginia Tech as our consulting partners in preparing this plan, and I'm very happy to have the Virginia Tech team here with us tonight. They have facilitated a number of our stakeholder meetings and interviews and surveys, so it's been really great to have them as a partner. A few takeaways that I want you to have from tonight's meeting. Number one, I want you to understand and perhaps take away from this presentation that economic development is complex. It's far more comprehensive than maybe we all understand or have experienced in the past. Most people recognize the results of economic development in new businesses that locate in the community, but they don't always understand what goes into getting those projects here in the community. So I want you to take away that, maybe learn a few things about what our work program is like, how we operate. We do have a small staff. It's a 4-member team, including myself. They are here tonight as well. They've worked very hard, and I want to thank them all for their dedication and leadership and support getting us to where we are today. So at this time, I want to turn it over to Ashley Posthumus with Virginia Tech. She is with the Office of Economic and Community Engagement. They recently changed their name, so I always have to look to remind myself of the new name. And she will go over all of the elements of the plan in the presentation. So Ashley, thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Like Jill said, my name is Ashley Posthumus. I am from the Center for Economic and Community Engagement. I am an economic development specialist there. And we are here this evening to go over the Roanoke County Draft Strategic Plan. It's going to help guide the Roanoke County Economic Development's Department's actions and the development of Roanoke County over the next 5 years. So we'll be starting with what our center has been working on for over the past 10 months. We are going to go over our project process and progress, and then the draft plan. And most importantly, we will review the goals and strategies the county would like to adopt to support Roanoke County's economy over the next 5 years. So first, a little bit about us. Our office has experience working on a number of economic development projects, from strategic plans like this to other studies and reports that use our applied research and really just put our Virginia Tech resources to use in the Commonwealth communities. And we also felt that it was important to include some context around the role and responsibilities of the department. When drafting this plan and the recommendations, we wanted to keep things realistic. What could the department accomplish given their capacity, given the role that they play and the responsibilities that they have in the county and the greater Roanoke region? They mainly provide information and serve and consult new and existing businesses, but they also do foster partnerships. They advocate for essential infrastructure, that being like gas, water, transportation, broadband, and the development of county-owned sites, such as the Woodhaven Technology Park. So the plan is titled Elevate 2026 and has been funded by AEP, Appalachian Power, and our center's resources. This strategic plan, it will help guide the direction and focus of the Roanoke County's economic development program. And it's going to be a living document, so it's going to be updated as the process goes on, and it's not just going to sit on the shelf and be forgotten about. It's going to align with the county's initiatives and priorities, and it's going to be implemented over the next 5 years using a set of actions that we'll go over later in the slide, but that's going to be the implementation process of it. So this is what the project timeline has looked like. In February of 2021, we had our project kickoff meeting with a group of people that we coined the steering committee, which is basically just a bunch of different people that represent different organizations, things like local government, educational institutions, small business development organizations, and industry professionals, things like that. And they really helped us refine our project process and approach, and we would continue to engage with them throughout the entire year to make sure it's not just us coming in and telling you guys what to do, but to make sure we had a comprehensive view and feedback on the process. And then in February through April, we did our initial data collection. So we reviewed existing plans and studies, and then we also compiled some demographic and some economic data. That being population, employment, income numbers, workforce, housing, and we collected all this data in addition to doing a combination of interviews and surveys. And we collected some of our own data using those interviews and surveys. So we collected that from communities and businesses, and then we also reached out to those same larger entities like the educational institutions, local government, small businesses, to gain their input as well. And then in May and June, we met with the department, we met with the Board of Supervisors of Roanoke County, and we met with the Planning Commission and the EDA to do a facilitated discussion, kind of understand their priorities and get their feedback on the plan. And then we also did a focus group sessions, 4 focus group sessions with specific topic areas. So we did one for talent and workforce, we did one for infrastructure, we did one for real estate and sites, and we did one for entrepreneurship. And we basically collected opinions of people who play a role in those specific targeted areas. Those were integral areas in the goal areas of our recommendations. And then at the end of the summer, we took all of this information and we developed strategies and recommendations based on what we learned and what the county could do based on their roles and responsibilities and what all the data was telling us. So that leads us to where we are now. We're presenting the draft plan, we're gaining feedback from the public and from some of the other entities that we talked to throughout the process, and we're gonna figure out what that says based on the work that has taken place. So just to understand the extensive data collection engagement that really took place, we have some numbers for you. There were 357 responses, both public and stakeholder, those stakeholders being the industry professionals, the local government, small business. We also interviewed 12 of those stakeholders, and we had the 3 work sessions that I talked about, the Board of Supervisors, the EDA Planning Commission, and the department's work sessions, and then we had those 4 targeted strategic area focus groups. So the county strategic plan has recommendations in 4 goal areas: people and opportunity, place and quality of life, innovation and entrepreneurship, and industry and business. And the department may play a greater role in some of these goal areas than others, but each goal area does play an important role in advancing Roanoke County's economy. And the department can help using their roles and responsibilities. So before we jump into what those strategies and recommendations are, we'd like to go over some of the terms that we're going to be using and kind of the structure of how we formatted the recommendations. So starting with the goal area, just think of it as a big, broad outcome of what we're trying to get to. And then given what the department is capable of doing, they're going to take a certain approach, which is the strategies. Each strategy has an objective, which are the steps that the department is going to take to make sure their approach is successful. And then we take it one step further to implement these steps, and that's where the action item comes in. This may be a little confusing right now, but we're going to go into the recommendations and we'll walk you through the first one. Okay, so to looking at industry and business goal area, it has two strategies. The first strategy being infrastructure, site development, and business growth. That's the first strategy's focus. And the second focus is going to be target industry clusters. So looking at the first strategy's objective, which is the step it's going to take to successfully improve infrastructure, site development, and business growth, they're going to reduce barriers to developing desirable and prioritized projects. So they're going to continue to encourage consistent communication and collaboration between county departments to avoid silos that sometimes happen and to facilitate more streamlined regulatory processes. They're also going to regularly invite and collect input from the development community to identify barriers and needs. And then they're also going to convene a one-time or an annual forum that brings developers, investors, officials together to share more about the hurdles that they encounter. They are also going to champion participation in regional site projects like the Woodhaven Technology Park. How are they going to do this? They're going to engage with regional leaders to identify return on investment projects for joint site projects. And then finally, they're going to identify creative partnerships and pathways for developing high project priorities. How are they going to do this? They're going to research and recommend incentives such as fee waivers or financing partnerships for targeted growth areas. For example, possible incentives for home builders that create workforce housing. The second strategy in the goal area of industry and business talks about target industry clusters. And the first step they're going to take is engage stakeholders in initiatives for expanding target industries like the life sciences and transportation sectors. How are they going to do this? They're going to seek grant funding with regional partners to identify opportunities that support business growth in industries the county excels in. And then they are also going to take the step of identifying funding tools, sources, and incentives to advance development projects consistent with area plans and sectors. And they're going to do this by exploring the potential and uses for a capital reserve fund, a resolving loan program to address gaps in funding for businesses, projects, and programs. So that was the first goal area. The second goal area focuses on people and opportunity, and the two approaches they're taking to improve people and opportunity is education and work pathways and talent and attraction and retention initiatives. So focusing on the first strategy, they are going to take the step of engaging with employers to identify challenges and opportunities for recruiting, hiring, and training. They're going to do that by planning and convening semi-annual business meetings to share information and identify resources around these challenges and opportunities. They're also going to take the step of supporting the K-12 school system and the CTE program connections. And they're going to implement this by identifying employer opportunities for K-12 student internships. They're going to work on work experiences and classroom learning. And these examples can be like company site visits and guest speakers at these different schools. They're also going to actively engage in the career and technical education program expansion and make sure that it's aligned with business and employer needs. They can consider supporting special events, such as Manufacturing Day, where they have site visits to different businesses in the area. And then they also are going to develop a marketing or talking points fact sheet that's going to be updated annually, and it's going to be on Roanoke County schools, and it's going to be used to assist marketing the county to employers and prospects. It can include information on CTE or special programs, experiential opportunities, and just the positive school performance measures that everyone loves about Roanoke County. And then finally, they're going to take the step of collaborating with education and workforce partners to meet employers' needs. And they're going to do that by meeting with education and workforce providers to best develop working practices and plan for rapidly responding to more critical workforce development needs. And they're also going to develop a marketing or talking points fact sheet, which is going to be updated annually. And this one is going to be on area workforce development and educational institutions. And it's going to be used to assist in working with existing employers, and then again, marketing the county to new employers and prospects. The second strategy is focused on talent attraction and retention initiatives. And the first step they're going to take is champion employers' interest in regional initiatives. To do this, they are going to share information about talent initiatives with county employers to update and provide them with an opportunity to participate in these initiatives. They are also going to facilitate relationships between businesses and higher education to encourage internship programs that help students remain in the region. Second, they are going to take the step of assessing conditions and the market assets that impact regional talent attraction and retention. And they're going to do that by actively engaging with Regional Chamber and Small Business Development Center and improving accessibility, reach, local awareness of services provided. They are also going to partner in designing resource materials that provide some streamlined processes and our visible information that kind of combines all those available resources for entrepreneurs. And they're also going to promote existing small business recognition activities like annual awards, awareness campaigns, and other special events. So, and then market assets and conditions that contribute to talent attraction and retention. So they are going to be actively engaged. They are going to partner in providing social opportunities for young professionals to help connect them to the county assets and employers. And they're also going to explore additional new campaigns to the newcomers, young professionals, and more diverse populations, offering them a voice in some county organizations, boards, commissions, to really connect them more intentionally about talent attraction and retention. And finally, they're going to continue collaboration in marketing regional talent initiatives. So the third goal area is innovation and entrepreneurship. It has 3 strategies, the first being focusing on strong entrepreneur and small business climate, the second being desirable location for innovation and entrepreneurs, and the third being entrepreneurship spaces. So the first strategy has 2 objectives. The first step they're going to take is simplify and streamline the process for starting or growing a business. And they're going to do this by actively engaging with the Regional Chamber and Small Business Development Center in improving accessibility, reach, and local awareness of services provided. They're also going to partner in designing resource materials that provide streamlined and visible information on available resources, and they're also going to promote some small business activities. They are also going to take the step of strengthening business support resources for entrepreneurs. So they are going to conduct or contract a study to further examine the possibility of needing a business incubator or co-working spaces. And they're also going to meet individually with key innovation ecosystem stakeholders. And they're going to meet with the individuals to explore partnership opportunities. The second strategy is to connect entrepreneurs, innovators, and startups with resources to facilitate and grow. And they're going to do this by doing an inventory of county assets that are in demand or contributing factors to why people move to Roanoke County, and then use those assets in marketing materials. They're also going to explore opportunities to continue to develop these and other assets. And those examples can be like greenway and trail development, or blueways or river access, and village-style developments. And then finally, they are going to explore innovation and entrepreneurship funding and incentive opportunities. That is going to be develop a general inventory of comparative aspirational examples. And they're also going to identify non-county resources, such as state and federal funding sources, and refer to some county businesses. And then the third strategy, the step they're going to take, is assess the potential for tech hubs, business incubators, co-working spaces, and other innovation spaces. They're going to implement this by inventorying the county properties and spaces that may match what entrepreneurs need for business growth and expansion. They're also going to lead developer conversations to develop spaces for entrepreneurs in high growth potential companies. And they're also going to identify grant funding and public-private public-private partnerships to facilitate the creation of an innovation technology hub for entrepreneurs. And then finally, they're going to take the step of identifying potential sites in first steps with partners like RAMP, the Advancement Foundation, and Verge, those companies that really promote entrepreneurship. And they're going to do this by consider creating a platform to highlight entrepreneurs and celebrate existing business successes. And then the final goal is place and quality of life. It has 4 strategies focusing on supporting the live, work, play development, focusing on promotion of livability assets, focusing on national and global economy trends, and focusing on new sites for economic growth. So the first step they're going to do to advance the support for live, work, play development is find funding options for growing target corridors and community hubs. And they're going to do this by evaluating the possibility of creating business improvement districts, commercial corridors that are targeted for business growth. And then they're also going to promote opportunities to developers, investors, and businesses. They're going to do this by developing an outreach and marketing plan to promote opportunities to realtors and developers. And they're also going to host or partner in planning and conducting tours for developers and investors. The final action step that they want to implement is work with property owners and regional partners to really align with available real estate. The final step they're going to take to support live, work, play development is support infrastructure improvements in targeted areas. And they're going to do this by developing an outreach and marketing plan to promote opportunities, to advocate and speak on behalf of business of broadband access, transportation connectivity, and accessibility. And then they're also going to continue to engage and partner in regional initiatives to advance alternative solutions to infrastructure and transportation improvements, things such as ride solutions. The second strategy focuses on promotion of livability assets. And the first step they want to take is help support the outdoor tourism economy. So they want to maintain active engagement in the regional initiatives such as Roanoke Outside and Virginia's Blue Ridge to market and brand the county to attract new visitors to the county. They also want to encourage entrepreneurship and business growth in the recreation and tourism sector. This will be done through partnerships with the Small Business Development Center and the Advancement Foundation. And then they are also going to take the step of maintaining the county's suburban and urban character. And they're going to do this by supporting agriculture and rurally located businesses. They're going to connect them with the larger regional organizations to make sure that local and regional initiatives like the Catawba Sustainability Center is being supported. And they're also going to advocate for and support investments in essential infrastructure such as broadband and cellular service to help position the county for remote workers. The final objective is support industries impacted by COVID-19, those industries being retail, restaurants, accommodations that contribute to quality of place. And they're going to do that by continuing direct outreach to pandemic impacted businesses and give access to federal and state support resources where they can. So the third strategy is national and global economy trends, and the first step they're going to take is explore post-COVID-19 emerging trends and share findings with partners. So they are going to engage with regional, state, national experts and analysts on a regular basis to really identify and understand how industries are changing and being affected. So a great example can be how these industries have been affected from the COVID-19 pandemic, for example. They are also going to communicate and share that information with companies and similar organizations. The second step they're going to take is find ways to better adapt to trends and conditions that align with the county's business base. So they are going to bring business leaders together around specific opportunities or partner with the larger region and encourage industries to engage in Roanoke County. And then finally, the last objective or step that they are going to take is continue to monitor, inventory, and position vacant or underutilized sites that represent future development opportunities. And they're going to do this by developing a plan for targeting underutilized properties and promoting redevelopment projects. They are also going to work with regional partners to identify and prepare some larger sites for future economic development projects, and they're also going to continue to engage property owners and regional partners to really facilitate the county's development and redevelopment goals. So we'd include this slide just to make you aware of all the partner organizations that the Roanoke County Economic Development Department work with and partner with to really support their initiatives and priorities in the region and the county. And then finally, after all that information that was given, this is just a summary of the major themes that we talked about across all goal areas. So collaboration and partnerships is very important. Regionalism, you heard a lot of regional partnerships and support. Financing tools and incentives can be found across all goal areas. Marketing and promotion of assets and resources, streamlining regulatory processes, and advancing corridor plans and targeted sites that have been really successful. And then we're finding some key foundations that the department is just known for: business support and services, county trends and conditions, and entrepreneurial support. And now I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Scott Tate.
Thank you, Ashley, although I may call on you again for some guidance, but thank you for walking us through that. It was very comprehensive, and I'd forgotten how comprehensive it was. I think part of that is that we wanted, and the county really wanted the plan to be tactical and action-oriented, so we tried to respond to that. The other thing to keep in mind is that a lot of the steps here reinforcing and refining work that the County Economic Development Department is already engaged in. So it's shaping it and refining it under a sort of a new work plan for the next 5 years that builds on what they're already doing, maybe addresses it in a slightly different way. So what we wanted to do now is take a quick break from the group discussion to provide folks that are here in the audience, even some of you I know that are already familiar with the process, you've been engaged throughout, many of you, but we'd still like to hear from you in terms of, okay, you're hearing all of this now in a new kind of way. This is our draft step of all the strategies, objectives, and tactics. What stands out to you in these 4 pillar goal areas in terms of what are you hearing that's listed that you like, that you think is a strong recommendation that you want to lift up? What are you hearing that you have questions about? You mentioned this, what does this mean? Maybe you don't like it. So we'd like to hear that as well. And the last thing that we'd like to hear is, is there anything missing or anything we didn't talk about that you want to add, that we really need to be sure that we add to our list and consider? It may be deeper in the report and not lifted up here, because this is the high-level goals, strategies, objectives, and tactics. This is based on a lot of evidence that we gathered through that process that Ashley described. Pretty lengthy. We had a number of surveys and focus groups. We had data. So a lot of this is data-driven in terms of the responses and feedback we received from the public and from key kind of focus group participants. So when we lift up some themes here like quality of place, connecting with outdoor economy, it's because those are things we heard over and over that are part of the economic development fabric here. So it needs to be in the plan somewhere. So this is our response to try to be, this is our effort to try to be responsive to what we heard during that process. But if it raises questions, if there are things that are not here, we do want to hear that. So if I understand the process correctly, we are going to have 4 stations, and we would like to ask folks that are present in the room to be able to come visit us at one of our 4 stations. Each of these stations around the room corresponds with one of our 4 goal areas or pillars. It's very informal, but we'll have a kind of a department staff member and one of our Virginia Tech staff members at each station. If you have a second to visit each station, that would be great. If you have particular feedback on that goal area, we'll write it down, we'll record it, we'll put it on a sticky note, and we'll put it on a flip chart, and it just gives us some more information to take back to the office as we're refining this, because again, this is a draft. And if you are for those who are not able to physically take place in these in-person sessions, we'll have some opportunities for folks to respond online as well. In